I got so many questions from the last video on how to be vulnerable without being needy. A lot of people came to me and said, hey, Amy, can you give me some examples? Stay tuned because I'm going to talk about how to be vulnerable and give you different examples of when to be vulnerable. And for more videos on how to take charge of your love life, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. First, I want to start with what type of relationship requires vulnerability. We're talking about romantic partners, family, and friends, and vulnerability should not be one-sided. If you're the only one being vulnerable, then there's a problem. Vulnerability is not info or trauma dumping, and there's a time and place for everything when you want to share an intimate, deep story about yourself. Should you choose to share anything traumatic, you need to ask yourself a few questions. First question is, do I trust this person? Are they somebody that if I share this information to them, they're not going to share it to the world? This is just between us. The second question to ask yourself is, why am I sharing this information right now? Is this appropriate? Is this something that is important to the person across from me, right? Is this going to benefit us in our relationship? And the third question, is what I'm sharing relevant or helpful to this person? And if it's not relevant or helpful, then there's no purpose in sharing the information. I also want you to know, just because you're being vulnerable doesn't mean every person is going to receive it exactly the same way. Some people may be comfortable with it, some people may be uncomfortable and change the subject. All of those things show the level of comfort they have with you being vulnerable. And it allows you to know what category to put that person in. If they're your intimates, they're somebody that you can just be yourself, be honest, and shed all your layers. They're gonna make you feel safe and secure while you're sharing your deepest moments. And let's say you share something really important to you, like your friend really hurt you, or something happened that really hurt your feelings, and the person that's receiving it is squirming and looking away, or maybe changing the subject. Then it's a clear sign that they are not capable of being vulnerable with you or accepting your vulnerability. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. This is rejection. Actually, I want you to take a stance of the observer. I want you to look and observe that this person is not, embracing your vulnerability, and it's a mental note for you to say, okay, this is a person I can't share these deep moments with, and I'm going to put them into a friend category rather than an intimate. And it's important to note that if you just met somebody, it's probably not beneficial for you to get too vulnerable too quickly. They might get the deer headlights look on you because it may be too fast too soon. Vulnerability has to be spoon-fed, and it has to be a back and forth conversation. You share something, they share something, and that's what builds a layer of trust and bond between you two. When it comes to vulnerability, it really takes a lot of courage. Here's an example. If you're with a family member and your family member did something that really hurt your feelings, instead of just shutting down and, running away or being passive-aggressive, you can directly tell that family member, you really hurt my feelings. What you said really made my heart break, and I want you to know what I want to be treated like is with respect, and this is what good looks like. And then ask them, what do you think we can do to make that happen? So when you're speaking directly, you are sharing your true feelings, you're sharing your emotions, and you're actually allowing the person across from you to realize that they hurt your feelings. Sometimes they have no idea that they hurt your feelings and that possibly you took it as a dig or something that was, an insult. So it's important for us to take ownership and communicate that to the person across from us. And when we do that, we teach that person how to treat us. Now they have the ability to fix their behavior. But if we don't say anything and we just become passive aggressive, or we shut it, our feelings down, we keep sweeping it under the rug, then it builds up resentment, frustration, and anger, and eventually, guess what? You end up blowing up, right? So it's important to acknowledge your feelings. If you're hurt or you're frustrated, if you're angry, express those emotions to the person across from you. Let them know what they said was not okay. And I know it's hard to assert your boundaries, but that's the only way they know how to make you happy. So if they consistently break those boundaries, that also tells you this is somebody that you need to reevaluate and see why you have them in your life. Most of us were taught to belong or fit in or try to people please to make people like us. So when you're vulnerable and you're drawing boundaries with people, you risk, conflict. You risk somebody being disappointed in you, and you may actually risk the friendship or the relationship altogether. However, your needs are going to be met and you will be happy because now you're being heard and you're owning your own truth. So now I want to hear from you. Do you have a hard time with vulnerability? Leave your comments, questions below. I do reply. At the end of the day, in order to be vulnerable, you need to practice the skill. It doesn't come naturally to all of us. I personally have to practice it every single day. So if you need help and support in this area, this is what I do best. And I can help you through one-on-one coaching or my workshops. Go to amiethedatingcoach.com and reach out to me. I look forward to meeting you, and thank you so much for joining me.